Welcome to Educators with Oil. I'm your hostess, Ronette Branham, here to offer biblical strategies for effective teaching. Thank you for joining today. I just want to discuss as our year winds up here in New Jersey, things that we can do for our students, uh, things that you can ponder for the next year. I know in the South, school's out. And so you may not even be thinking about education. You may not be thinking about your students and what it is that you can do for the next school year. But I know, like I said, when you review the end of the year, take a look at and dive into what happened in the year, your takeaways from the year. At the same time, while we're winding up, we could talk about biblical principles in education. Whether people know it or not, some of the principles, some of the strategies that you offer other people that we have to offer our students, that they come from the Bible. People don't even have to know that. It's just good principles, so we can talk about nurturing our students' hearts and minds, because our students, whether we like it or not, our students are learning from all these different avenues. They're learning from their friends at home, their family members at home, their parents, friends, families. They're learning from students at school. So, and then they're learning from us. They take a lot. Students take a lot, especially mine, because I have second graders. They take a lot of what we say as gospel truth. I mean, they don't know. They think that my teacher said this is this. So students are like that. So we wanted to just nurture and instill some godly principles into the students so that as they grow, they'll have that in their minds, in their hearts. If we want to instill such principles as love, patience, compassion, in our interactions with our teachers, do it through our teaching methods. you know we have we have a way to give students grace. Like if they're taking a test and then they didn't understand the whole question, and you go back and say, did you understand this question? You gave us half the answer. How about let's read the whole question, make sure you understand the question, and then you can answer it fully, because students might get part A and not part B. If it just says a math, they have step one and then there's a step two. They didn't get the two. That's a two-step equation. They may have solved the subtraction, but they didn't see the addition, or they saw the addition, didn't see the subtraction. So things like that, and we could give them grace and say, okay, because there are teachers who just mark it wrong. You got it wrong. You didn't get the whole thing right. You got it wrong. But we could show them love and compassion and go back. Like, just for instance, I had students taking tests, and I had one little girl who she took her test. The test reads the question to you. I can read the questions. It's a math test. So I can read the questions. I can't help you with the answer. So she took the test, just click, click, click. She didn't know what it said. She just did what she felt it was. But she didn't even understand the questions. So it said, just say for one, it said, what's the difference between, what didn't even say, how much longer is the pen than the pencil, right? And it probably was 1 centimeter, or could have been 3, whatever it was. There were a few questions like that. But she didn't know. She had it. She didn't know. She wanted to choose the number of the pencil or the pen because it was longer. Like she thought it was. That's what it was. She thought it was which one is longer, because she didn't read it. She just went. But her test was so low, and I know for a fact this little girl could do all the math in our grade. There's nothing in math that she can't do. You just make sure she understands the question. She was like, well, what is are you talking about this, or are you talking about that? So she had to get it. But I let her take the test over. Let me read the questions to you. Because I wouldn't give her the answer, but I would state the question in a way that we studied, because the test is not given in the same language. Like for that, I would have said, how much longer is the pen than a pencil, or whatever it was. And then I would ask her what kind of question that is. And then she could answer it. I wouldn't, if she comes with a question back, I'm not giving her the answer. So I gave her grace. Let me give this again, because I know that you know all this, right? You didn't know how to answer the test because you didn't read it, or you didn't know how to read it. You didn't understand what it was saying. There was other questions that were there was one about the the students gave what their favorite colors were, and then the question was how many students chose red or green. That sounds like subtraction. It doesn't sound like addition. So because there were four colors. So I gave it to her the way we would have asked, in our studying, because the test wasn't given from the book that we have. The math book that we have, the lessons would have said how many students chose red or orange or whatever color I just said altogether. Then she would have gotten that. Just like that. It wouldn't have been any question. But if I say how many chose red or green, or, I keep forgetting the colors I said, but how many chose red or green, she's like, I'm going to have to choose. Or is it subtraction? She didn't understand. We didn't teach that. We didn't know. We don't talk like that. So show them compassion and grace. They're better than this. They're better. And then they will know how to give other people compassion. If somebody makes a mistake or takes something that's theirs and they didn't know, they thought it was their own because they might have the same thing or something similar. Simple things like that. Like students don't want to share. There was a series of books going around in my classroom. I forgot what it's called, but not all the students, a few of these students are reading these books. There's like 5 or 6 going around our class. So different students had one. And so one was sitting in a book bin, and then a little girl picked it up and she wanted it. Then here comes another little boy. He took it and gave it to his friend. And then she didn't even tell me. She waited until we were discussing the book. Today, people were telling what books that they read and telling us about it. So see if we want to read those books or not. So she said, I had that book, and then so-and-so took the book from me. Why did you take the book from her? I don't understand. Let me see what's happening here. He said, because I wanted it. Is that what you're telling me? You just took the book because you wanted it? You wanted it. And then you just took it. Did you ask her for it? No, I didn't. I wanted it and I took it. And that just showing how that was like a teachable moment. And I talked to the students about if somebody has something that you want, you can ask them for it. If they say, no, I'm using it, then you have to wait. That's how it works. That's how it works. There's no going around it. And you discuss that and things like that. Just like they understand. They want to go to the bathroom. It's 2 people already out at the bathroom. No, you have to wait. Unless it's an emergency, you have to wait till somebody comes back. All these people are not going to be in the bathroom. 3 or 4 people are not going to be in the bathroom or in the hallway running up and down the stairs. We're not doing it. So they understand wait. Unless it's an emergency. And it is never an emergency for you to need a book from somebody. That's never an emergency. So, and we can teach them love and compassion. We have students, this student gets hurt. They understand. Let's see what's wrong with them. Let's discuss it. They can understand these things. And as we show them, and we show them compassion and patience, we have students who don't understand things. And they want us to explain. And then we explain it. They still don't understand it. We have to explain some more. Then we have to figure out how they're going to learn this. Let's see how is this student going to learn this subject, this problem, this mode of doing this operation, right? So we have to have patience in that because not every student learns or grows at the same pace. I had a little boy in my class. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but we have these SGOs, student growth objectives, right? We say at the beginning of the year, these students are going to grow this many steps, whether it's reading, this many levels, right? Had one little boy who I don't know how, I didn't see it. I gave him the same book that he was reading. That's level, so I didn't really understand what was happening. I didn't pay enough attention. So get ready for the SGOs, and I go look at his reading level. He didn't grow enough to say, it's like he didn't meet the goal. So I'm like, I don't know what happened. Then, and I talked to him, and you have patience with students, like what happened. So we discussed it and we're reading. So the next time, and I practiced little spelling patterns with him to make sure he understood. So when we got ready to read, he grew tremendously. He grew so many levels. Like, well, what happened here? You have to have patience. It's going to happen. We have to have patience. I have a student. There's there was some certain things that he would do, and I couldn't allow it, and because he would hurt himself. So I had to figure out a way to help him use these tools so that it worked for him. And now he knows, and other students know, well, he uses this. Nobody else is using that, and don't look for it. This is for him because he needs this. And now he's just comfortable. I don't have to worry about him harming himself. So it's just, you have to have patience. You have to have enough love and compassion to say, well, how do I help this student? And then they will see it. They will feel it. They will understand it. They won't take, like we had, like I said, with those tests. Prior, with the other tests, a lot of students didn't do well because they didn't read, period. They just didn't read. And then everyone just want to click, click, click. Okay, I'm going to give this test again. Have patience, compassion. I understand what happened. You needed somebody to read it. So I'm going to read it. We're going to go these questions at a time for this story. Then you're going to answer those questions. Then I'm going to read the next story. You're going to answer those questions. We're not acting like, oh, well, that's the grade they got. This is what's happening. I'm not helping them. The story read to them. They should have listened when it read. They're not paying attention. But if you're there, if you take that time and you say, okay, I got this. I'm going to help the students in this manner. And so I did. The students' grades went up. I mean, it just was amazing. 40 points, 50 points. I don't know how many more than that. But they went up because I had the patience and the compassion for those students, and they saw that. Thank you, Ms. Branham, because you read that story to me. Now I get it. I understand. And I didn't do anything special. All I did was read the story, which the computer read the story to them. They didn't pay attention. But I'm here. Okay, I'm going to read the question. Now you answer it. Read the next question. You answer it. Read the next question. You answer it. Do you need me to read something back again to you? Because they can always go back to the story and read it again. If they get to this question, they don't remember the answer. You need me to read that apart to you. Tell me what you needed me to read again. And they will do that. And then that's the same thing with them. They will learn with their friends to have compassion and understanding and love, and play with the people who are not, nobody's playing with, or the people who nobody wants to play with. Let's go see why nobody wants to play with them. Or a new student. I got a new student yesterday with only 10 more days left of school. Now we have 9 days left of school, right? And I had to ask for helpers. I had to figure out who could help, who could do it. Show her where the bathroom is. Help her, show her how we line up. Show her what we do when we come into the classroom. I had to move some people because some people didn't show her right. And so I had to have patience to say, okay, this child can do this. This child can be this helper. And then they weren't able to do it quick enough. They act like they forgot. And we've been in school for 10 months, 9 months already. So I had to find somebody else. But I had to do it in love. Like, okay, I'm going to move you, give you this person's going to help you today. So they don't know a different person is just helping them today. No, this person can't help you. But I'm showing it in love and compassion and patience that how to do it, how to move. Okay, now she's going to help you today. Maybe tomorrow it'll be this child. So she's not going to know. Nobody's going to know. I just fired her because she can't do it. That's just something that we could teach. Let me see. Oh, I'm going on and on and on. And put on then as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another. And if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other, as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. And not only are we teaching students that, but they are grabbing that from us. We are grabbing that from them, because you have students who fight today, and then they're best friends tomorrow, or they're best friends, and then all of a sudden they're fighting. She hit me. Like, what? Wait, how? You just were playing with her. How did this happen? What are we doing here? And that was from Colossians 3:12 and 13. Proverbs. This is that Proverbs 31 woman. We can be that Proverbs 31 woman. If this is a woman, if it's not, it's a man. Same principles apply. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. Teach kindness. You show kindness to your friends. Like I said so many times, I When my students come in the morning, remember I have 21, now I have 22 students. Each and every student is lined up at my door. I don't know how long it takes. I never timed it. And I stand at my door. Good morning, whatever their name is. How are you today? And then they tell me. Some say good, some say bad, some say and they gotta tell me why. They tell I don't ask them why. Sometimes I do, but they're gonna tell me anyway. Maybe I started asking them why. Like, oh, it's gonna be better. And then they say, why it's not so good because my brother was kicking me all night and he's little and he keeps turning and tossing or whatever. Or I didn't. A little boy told me yesterday because we had church late at night and then I didn't get enough sleep. And, or one little boy said, I want a baby sister. I don't have a baby sister. That's why I'm not feeling so great. I don't know why he's saying that. All his family members, I guess they have siblings and he doesn't have a sibling. So, that kind of stuff. So they walk in, or I'm great. I had a great weekend. We went to a party and they come back with that every morning. Now, like I said, they're saying to me, I'm great. How are you, Miss Branham? How are you today? And then I give them back, and they're like, I like that, because that's what I say to them. I like excellent. I like awesome. And then they come back with me, to me, with that same thing. So, what's happening here? Proverbs 19. Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will repay him for his deed. You're being generous to your students with kindness and love and compassion and gentleness. God is going to repay us. I promise you. This is the Bible says. He's going to repay you for what you do for his children, to the poor. And we say poor in mentality, poor in knowledge. They don't have the knowledge that you have, and you're giving to them that knowledge, and you're being generous with it. God's going to repay you for that. There's no teacher. I can't find a teacher that God's not going to repay for that kindness, because you don't have to be a teacher. Even if that's your gift and calling, you don't have to walk in your calling. We don't have to. We can do whatever we want. I know people who used to teach and then they didn't, and I never still can't understand how does that work. They left the whole profession, but I can see it now when you get older. But this was like young people; they just didn't like it. And before I was a teacher, when I wanted to be a teacher and didn't do it, and I couldn't imagine. You were a teacher? You work here and you were a teacher? And then they're like, yeah, I didn't like it, or whatever. So you don't have to teach, but God's going to reward you for being a teacher to these students, imparting this knowledge. Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth. So we can say, oh, I love students, I love teaching, and I love this, and I love working with whoever you work with. Love working at this school. But then your deeds don't show it. You're mean to the students. You're not nice. You're not gentle. And you're not kind. You're not patient. You're not compassionate. You're yelling at your students. All kind of whatever you're doing with your students. You're taking one's word over another just because you prefer this child over that child. And you don't know the truth. You don't have any facts. I sit there. Well, what happened? Then I come to you. But she said you did this. Why did she tell me that? I don't even say, why did you do that? Or why did she tell me? Why is she or he saying you did such and such and such? That's what I do. And then they'll explain, well, he did this and I did that. That's how second graders are. Well, I didn't like what he did, she did. So this is what I did. Or like the boy said, I wanted the book. That's why I took it. So you have to show compassion and love. And not just in talk. We're just talking. Oh, I love teaching, and God told me I should be a teacher. My mom was a teacher. Just because your mom was a teacher, that don't make you a teacher. You saw what the benefits and how great it was for her, but that doesn't make you a teacher. I know. I see people who they hate their job, hate their job. I don't know why they do it. They just want to keep the money. They're afraid to do something else. They are locked in because I've been doing this for 10 years or however many years. They hate their job. Why are you doing it? Why are you there? What are you afraid of that you can't go out and do something else? I don't get it. Finally, all of you have unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, tender heart, and a humble mind. Do not repay evil for evil or reveling for reveling, but on the contrary, bless, for to this you are called, that you may obtain a blessing. So if you are called to do something, know God's going to bless you for it. I know we have teachers, we have principals, we have counselors, deans, all kind of people listening here. And what happens, sometimes you run across some students who are not so great, kind of little, I don't know, they're just not nice people. And they might spat things out at you. They might do things in your class and you're getting frustrated and you want to say, look, little guy, look, little girl, you're going to get your little self out of my classroom. You know, you want to take it to the same level that they're at. And then it's not going to come back to you right. Because, you know, the Bible talks about a soft answer turns away wrath. But you getting back with them the way they're getting with you, it's not going to work. He says, do not do that. You know, have a unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, tender heart, humble mind. We have to remember that we are there to serve these students. We are there to uh, educate these students. That's our job. That's our job. I'm watching people who are in education and I'm like, this is not education. Where's the education coming in? I don't get it. I'm trying to figure out, like, you know, our job is to educate students, but we have all this other stuff going on. Where's the education? Then you're giving me all these things to do, these directives that have nothing to do with education, and you're not. The bottom line is to educate the students, and you're worried about this, that, and the third. Come on, we have to get it right. This is going to be my last scripture because Galatians 5:22-23. You're going to see why it's my last scripture. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. And I say this all the time. Nobody can hold you accountable. Nobody could say you committed a crime as you are walking in the fruit of the Spirit. You're walking in love and joy and peace. Who's gonna say this is a crime? You're doing wrong because you're peaceful, because you're patient, because you're kind. You're showing goodness and faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Who can hold that against you? If they do, that's something wrong. It's not you, I promise. So this is what we have to do with our students. Really, we just have to be there. That example, that's what this is about, being an example, teaching them, imparting these character traits into the fruit of the Spirit, imparting that into these students that they can go through the summer. They'll remember some things that you taught them, how to play with others, how to be there, how to follow directions. You know, impart what God is imparting into you, into these students. That's just what it is. So we can do that. I'm trying every day. I think I was very, very successful this year with even this, with my students. Maybe some grown-ups I might have failed a little bit. But with my students, I can't find where I wasn't successful with this with my students. Even students who came in my class, I have students coming to my class and I'm like, why are you in here? Because I wasn't doing my work. Or I keep talking. Well, what? You think you're going to come in here talking? You're not going to talk. We're going to get that work done. You got 5 minutes. Get your work done. You're going back to your own class. You know, I talk to them and then they understand and they're just so respectful. They see me outside. They're like, Miss Branham, do you know my name? One little boy today, he asked me that, and I was like, I do, but I can't remember. And this little boy's in my class so much. I don't know it. Then he said it, told me what his name was. But I was like, let me think. And then he just said it. Just be there. Be kind. Just how about be kind? The rest of you, some of us, like me, I have like 9 school days left, something like that. 9, something like that. And just be kind for those 9 days. Practice for when you go back to school in September, August, September. How are you going to show kindness to these students? Show love and compassion, gentleness to your students. They need it. You might be the only impartation of gentleness that they get. You might be the only impartation of kindness, gentleness, love, compassion. You know, we went through something. It'll probably be next week's episode when we went through something, still going through in the middle of it with our with my granddaughter's school district in this town we live in, and I'm watching people not being kind and compassionate, and then they're like I said, we will don't have self control, and we're just saying what we want, doing what we want, and we just have to be an example to these children. Show them how they should behave and what they should do when it comes summertime. I said when they get home, when they're playing with their friends, how they should act and how they behave. They'll take these lessons with them. So just don't forget to think about the fruit of the spirit. Walk in the fruit of the spirit. If you don't do anything else, you don't have to think about this is how I'm going to behave with my student. No, walk in the fruit of the spirit so you'll know how to answer whoever it is. You know. So again, thank you for tuning in to Educators with Oil. I'm your hostess, Ronette Brandon. Remember, take your oil with you. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. Again, have a blessed day.